Hello people, Cretaceous Breaks here, and today I'm gonna do a review of the Godzilla action figures series 1991. And I gotta be honest, the name of the line is kinda weird. Like, couldn't it be specific? It's like just Godzilla action figure. What kind of line is it? But I'm gonna show you the box. So right here, it's the Japanese release, and I was able to get it for $34 in Singapore since I live in here, and I say it's worth it because USD I heard is around like 25. I heard, but I'm not sure if there's actually the Bandai America release of this box, because out of all of the figures they released so far, the 2004 minus one and Kiryu, this is the best so far. And here's the side. So yeah, this is a pretty good box, and compared to the Bandai America, the Japanese one is better. Now let's take a look at in up close detail, and I'm gonna on my flashlights to get a bit of a closer, better look. Now overall, the details is pretty good. The eyes are very nicely printed, and I noticed that I think there's no painted on this figure. Most of it is like printed on. The head looks very nice for what it is. I got to be honest, when I see the 2004 Godzilla and how he looks, he doesn't look quite right, even with the mouth slightly open. But this one right here can open up wider, and you can close it up, which is nice. And of course, there's a ball joint, and it's very derpy if you want to play around a bit. But the sculpting on this figure is pretty good. Got a nice texture, although you can't really feel in most areas for the scales, but they're sort of there in most parts. And it is a little bit on the shine to it. Maybe not very glossy, but a bit glossy, I guess. I don't know what to say. Maybe it's semi-gloss, like the one of those Mr. Hobby's spray cans of the sealers. So the nails right here is also like printed on, and only like the front part of the nails and not the bottom part. And the spines might be also be printed on, and even the toenails. But weirdly enough, the inside right here is like barely any yellow. A bit of a nitpick. I kind of wish it has more yellow on the nail, but it's okay, I guess. I mean, this is like around a dollar figure, let's just say, instead of like a high quality action figure, very posable, very detailed sculpt. And I'm gonna do the articulation, and there's some things I need to point out in some areas. So you got a ball joint at the neck, not at the head, so you can move down like a bit more if you want to force it, but can't look up because of the sculpt. The mouth can open like this wide, and sometimes my camera I need to like keep tapping on the screen to focus. Can open this wide and can close. And the shoulders right here, if you were to push all the way down here, it does limit a little bit of the movement because of the sculpts. So you have to move out a bit to get a full rotation, like just fine. And you can see like right here, the it is on a ratchet in 3 clicks, but all the way pushing it does limit the movement. So it can move out this much, like 90 degrees. You even got a small ratchet right here, just a single one, and you can rotate the elbow right here. And this one right here is a bit of a challenge to rotate the sort of like a Revoltech joint like. You can move side to side and you have a ball joint right here. But you can pop out and it is quite tight to push. So I had to like push this joint right here all the way down, and you can rotate and you can get an up and down. Now let me just try to push it back in, because this figure, I just bought it yesterday and there are some areas that are a bit tight actually. And you got a leg that can spread this wide. And the odd thing is that this part right here is like quite oily for some reason. Same with the joint right here that makes it a bit loose, but once I wipe it off it seems fine. But the odd thing is that I was able to rotate this piece, the socket joint right here. Now I don't know like it's supposed to move or it's like supposed to be glued in, because I tried the other leg, these two parts of the arm and the leg is actually disassembled. You have to assemble itself. But this leg right here, I tried to move this socket, but it just doesn't move. So again, this could be my copy and it can be a bit weird in some areas, but yeah. But you can rotate this all the way around. And I don't think you can rotate the calf or like the knee maybe. Like I don't know how Godzilla's design is for the Heisei, where his knees are honestly, even though it is nicely sculpted to show where the knees. But the joint right here seems to be permanent. Doesn't seem to rotate, but you can bend with 2 clicks. Very soft. And the feet is the same as the arm right here with the whole Revoltech like joint, where you have a slight ankle pivot due to the skull. It gets a bit in the way. But if you rotate the joint inside, turn around, you can get a more up and down a bit. But I try it, it doesn't really do much. So I think I'll just leave the joint to move sideways instead of up and down. The tail joint, you can't really do much left and right, but you can do up and down mostly. And same with the ball joint right here and here. Although I'm not sure like if it's just me or does a sculpt tail at this base of the tip of the tail is a bit too wide. I don't know if it's just me, but it could be just me, but it just, this part right here looks a bit off if you were to centralize, because if you want to move the tail it does break the skull. And I honestly wouldn't mind if they just make this whole thing like a whole tail to be solid, or just simply keep the like some kind of like the Playmates Godzilla toys to just have ball joint at the base here and the whole thing is solid, or just simply leave it a flat tail and you add some joints here and you get some fluid and not really break the sculpt of it. And I can't really tell this part here is printed, because it looks like it's printed is because you see a bit of like pixels at the tiny bit at the small base right here. So the posability, it may not be that much, but for what you're getting, it's what it is, and what you're getting is pretty alright. Like you can get it look decent. But I mean, this is like a budget action figure Godzilla, which has a bit of a Playmates feel of the plastic and even the sculpt. and it's nowhere near like very detailed like maybe some of the movie monster series. I said some because there are also some that is just soft in some areas, like very small details of my hands. So there is, they say that this size comparison first, and then we get through the accessories. They said it's like 6 inch if you were to do stand them up right, I guess. But hold up, let me get my ruler. They say it's 6 inches, but it's like 5.5. So I don't know if it really depends on which figure you get or something. But of course, it says children are meant for 3 plus, but I just get it something I like, and also this is like and almost adults who wanted affordable figures they want for themselves. So I can't really blame, and I get the like the concept of what it is, but also Playmates done the same thing. So here is a Movie Monsters series Godzilla 2000. And you can see that I think the level of details might be a bit same, but they do tend to add articulation than accuracies in some areas, because there is some areas that looks a bit off with the head, even if you were to align it correctly with the jaw compared to the box art. This is the render of his suit. It looks a bit off, maybe it's a bit slim, but around this cheek area, but this is like pretty good for what it is. And here is the higher toys Godzilla, and just look how short he is. Just look how short it is. It's almost like accurate scale for like a 80-meter tall Godzilla compared to 120-meter Godzilla, I think. Because let's just say during the night 84 and till the second movie he appeared in 89, he was only 18 meters tall, but until, well, 91, he became 100-meter tall, which I think 100-meter will be around here. And here it is next to my custom repaint bootleg Godzilla -1. And of course, there's gonna be people who's gonna complain about scales of individual Godzillas, but would you really want to have accurate scales and then have this one to be like 50 meters and this 100 meters? Like, is it that necessary? I don't know, people nowadays, but I should give a small update in case people never see my short. Guess what? I was able to get the eyes right. Well, not necessary, but it's close enough. It's close enough that at least it doesn't look very lowered, but it is like looking straight, and the cheek I was able to get a sort of a right color of pink. And so that's it for the comparison. And you do get a breath effect, which is the piece. Now I don't know whether if this is like the very soft plastic here is a bit warped, but you do can see like it's actually attached to this bottom jaw right here. Now I gotta be honest, I don't really like how it's designed, but I can see why. Like, I wish they went with how Playmates did with their MonsterVerse Godzilla, where you just add where there's like a small ball joint at the top of the breath effect, and then you plug it in on top of the mouth. Well, I'll give you a reason. Because I've heard people have a bit of difficulties trying to remove the mouth jaw, and I can't blame them because of how it is designed, because the joint is like upwards for his mouth at the base. So what I recommend to do is to prevent like twisting it that way, because it could potentially break it, but I'm not sure the longevity of it. But what I recommend is that you just push all the way out and you get a small gap, and boom, you pry it out. And there is a socket right here, like very deep in at the top, and you just place it up here. And I'm gonna show you why I really wish they could fix it, because at least in my copy, the joint for this one, hold up, something's wrong, is that the breath effect attached to his head, to his mouth, makes it is long, and I like how the breath effect is long, but it just weights down the mouth to be have a slight gap. And maybe like they could have like designed a mouth to be open very wide and fill out right here, instead of like having a somewhat a bit close right here. But that is just a minor nitpick. So they did. I should forgot to mention that they also printed out on the teeth here, and also the bottom jaw red, not like the Vinyl Wars Godzilla where they only have red on the tongue. And this is where you can see like there's not sculpted individual teeth, but just printed on, which that's what I also did for my -1. So I got this the NECA bootleg atomic beam that came with the SH Monster Arts bootleg review I did. And let's just see if this one can fit properly. Huh. It doesn't look that bad. Of course it will warp down, and that's why I did add a small hole inside here to add one of those like Tamashii Nation stands, the knockoff ones, off-brand maybe. So overall, I really like this figure for what it is, and it is the best out of the bunch, and I'm sure kids love this line for their posability and their sculpts and looks. But I feel like if I were the kid, I would at least want something in the line of like some kind of level of accuracy somewhat for Bandai Movie Monster series, but with this type of posability and articulation. But yeah, but they do tend, but a small note, they do tend to make like a small gap right here for his whole arm to push all the way down, and you can get him to be have the somewhat a classic Heisei look, where he always like move his arms close to his chest. But this is a somewhat debatable in some areas, but this is the best you can do. And there are some areas that are very soft to actually to move around and not hinder the articulation or scratch off maybe. That's why they tend to be soft. Get out of here, I just realized. So overall, I really like this figure for what it is, and I'll rate this figure a 8 out of 10, because even I like the figure for what it is, there's still some issues with it. I kind of wish they would fix a bit, but yeah. Anyways, for more Cretaceous Breaks videos, and leave a like, comment, and thanks for watching.